Okay, my friends, let's take a look at how to take a 21-day break from your trigger foods without feeling deprived. So first, I want to share with you my experience with this challenge. First, starting off with why I did it. So earlier this year, I hit quite a rough patch in my personal life. And in the beginning, I was doing some comfort eating, which is okay, that happens. But at a point, I had to admit to myself that I was just plain eating like garbage much of the time. Now, not only was I gaining weight and feeling like crap, I felt like a fraud because I help people gain control of their eating, and here I couldn't control mine. So, after 4 years of coaching in this field, I myself was in need of help. Now, when I looked at what was going on, I noticed it was very specific foods I was having a hard time with: cake, cookies, ice cream, sweet baked goods, and chips, specifically those tasty triangle Doritos. Now, after speaking with a friend, I got the idea to just take a break from these foods and see what happened. Not to quit them forever, just to take a break from them. Now let's look at how I went about doing this. First, mindset. So what sparked this was that conversation with a friend where she told me she had given up her trigger foods almost a year ago. I asked her how it had been, expecting her to talk about missing out and wishing that she could have them. But she said the opposite. She felt better without them and wasn't missing them at all. She felt more confident and free from always wrestling with her cravings. Now, her speaking so positively about this put a different spin on it. It made me believe that this could be the case for me as well. Maybe I won't feel deprived. I thought maybe I'll actually feel better. So I asked her also, was it like this from the start? Was it so easy right from day one? And she said, no, the first few weeks were hard and then things really changed. So I thought, hey, I'll give it a shot for a few weeks and see what happens. So going in, I had the experience of a friend showing me that while this might be difficult in the short term, it will get better. This allowed me to start with an open, curious, and optimistic mindset. As you begin, please do the same. It's a huge difference maker. If you go in knowing you'll feel deprived and having a bunch of FOMO, you're going to. But go in just feeling curious and knowing that you might learn something new doing this. Okay. Now let's look at the food specifics of how I did this. So I didn't set out to eat perfectly. I got very clear on which foods I wanted to take a break from, and I allowed all foods which were not on that list. The specific foods I took a break from were of two categories. One, desserts. While I removed all cake, cookies, ice cream, and sweet baked goods, I didn't remove all sweets, only the ones I found to be triggering. So I still had a few sodas during the challenge. I had honey, I had fruit, I had coffee with sugar. It was not about no sugar. It was not about nothing sweet. It was about not having specific trigger foods. This is really important. The second category of things I cut out was chips. Now, while I removed all potato chips and Doritos, I still had other salty snacks. I had some salty bag nuts, and once I had small bag of pork rinds. I was not trying to eliminate all salty snacks or eat perfectly. Again, it was just the triggering foods that I was taking out. Make sure that while not allowing triggering foods, you do allow similar foods which you can enjoy without being triggered. This helps immensely in not feeling deprived. These are kind of your backup foods, your escape hatch foods. Now, let's look at how it went for me. When I started, I had no idea how beneficial this would be. It was just a shot in the dark. It was easier than I thought it would be. And genuinely, it's been one of the most positive things I've ever done with these foods and in my relationship with food. There were some waves of craving, but they went away as time passed. Now, these waves were particularly difficult when I hadn't eaten enough food. Eating adequately is very important during this process. There were waves of emotion that I went through, which I needed to feel in order to move past them. This process was profoundly healing and helped me far beyond just my eating. I enjoyed the clarity of simply not having those foods for a period of time. There were no daily negotiations. It got easier as time went. Okay, cravings went down, confidence grew, and I saw myself start to look and feel healthier. Now, I'm now at the end of the challenge. I've already completed it, and I thought at this time I would be planning to indulge in the cravings that I had been suppressing, but I'm surprisingly not. I will have a treat at some point, but I'm not planning it. And I didn't expect this. I truly feel like I can take or leave these foods, which is amazing, amazing. So let's look at instructions on how you should go about this to be successful. So first we need to have a clear aim. Remember, the aim here is to take a break from foods which you find to be triggering. The aim is not to never eat them again. The aim is not to eat perfectly. The aim is not to eat as little as possible. The aim is not to eliminate all junk food. And this actually isn't about clean foods and dirty foods. It's about trigger foods. If Coca-Cola doesn't trigger binges, have it. If bananas trigger binges, take a break from them. Take a break from the specific foods that cause you to lose control. Focus on this one thing to have a better chance at succeeding. Now, why do it? What do you want to have as your aim going in? Well, this break will give you a chance to break bad habits and form some new good habits. It will break you out of the loop of continuously going to the same foods for relief. And viewing this as a break instead of never again reduces pressure and makes it doable. In this time frame, your thinking around these foods will change. You'll find new foods that satisfy, offer comfort, and do not trigger binges. You'll overcome ways of craving which show you your strength. You'll develop a new sense of confidence and empowerment. You'll see that these foods do not control you, but you can take or leave them as you please. Now, as far as motivation, for many people, weight loss will be a reason for doing this. And this is okay, but don't make it your only reason. Find deeper motivators to get you through the hard times. I did lose 10 pounds, and I admit I wanted to lose 10 pounds. I wanted to lose some weight during this. I was surprised how much that I lost, especially not limiting the amount of non-triggering foods I was having. I was eating pretty much what I wanted outside of those foods. But as much as I wanted to lose a bit of weight, this was not my primary motivation. I did it. The real deepest reason I did this was to have integrity in my word and in my food choices. I did not want to, I did it to not feel like a slave to food. I did it for reasons of self-empowerment and growth. So maybe you have similar reasons to me. Maybe it is to set a better example. Maybe it is to improve specific health markers. Maybe it's to be free from constant obsession over these foods. Okay, whatever it is, make it about more than just weight, because that's not enough to hang your hat on when it gets hard. Now, before starting, let's be real. Doing a challenge like this often causes people to have one last hurrah with these foods before kicking it off. I know I did, and I found it was helpful. And I'm going to give you some advice that a lot of people would disagree with. I'm going to say, have your last hurrah. Do it, okay? But here's how I want you to do it. Usually when we indulge in these foods, it's because we're at the end of our ropes and cave. And it's this bad thing that we allow because we can't hold on anymore. But here, do it differently. Be aware that this is a conscious choice and that right now you are totally allowed to do this. This takes away the rebel attitude, which often makes things worse. And when you are out buying the food for this kind of last hurrah, be aware that this is totally okay and know that you have space to breathe. Get out of the panic binge mode. In this space, ask yourself, what do I really want here? Is there something I always buy that I don't need this time? And when you eat the food, this is really important. Be fully present with it. Eat it very consciously and carefully, asking yourself, is this food really so special? Is this the holy grail experience my mind makes it out to be? Okay. I did this the night before I started. And as I ate so consciously, I came to the conclusion that no, these foods are not that special. I ate probably 20% of what I had been eating in the weeks prior, throwing most of it in the garbage, which shocked me. So now getting started, what you want to do, very simple. List out specific foods which cause you to lose control whenever you eat them. It doesn't matter if these are donuts or apples, the quality of the food is not our focus. Our focus is to break the loops which you have with specific trigger foods. Whatever is on that list is a no-go for the next 21 days, period. Having clarity that you're simply not having these foods right now will free you from constant daily negotiations and wrestling with yourself. Now, make a second list. This will be foods which can be supplements for the triggering foods. Example, if you're taking a break from ice cream, a good supplement is Greek yogurt. You can add fruit, stevia, nuts, cacao nibs, honey, whatever you want to add. This is still a sweet treat you can have with a spoon from a bowl to unwind while still breaking the pint of ice cream habit. If you are taking a break from pizza, You can still have pasta, another solid carb source, which may not be as triggering as pizza is. So you're going to determine what your trigger foods are and what your allowed kind of supplement foods are, your escape hatch foods that you can have when you really want these, and these foods are not going to make you feel lose control in your eating, right? Everybody's list is going to be different. You make your list. The second list is just as important as the first. It's going to be key in avoiding a sense of deprivation. Also, as I've mentioned before, it is very important to eat enough food during the challenge. Eat to satisfaction. If you try to go into a caloric deficit and take a break from these foods at the same time, it's going to be much, much harder. You're probably going to eat less calories just by cutting those foods out. So just focus on that. Focus on one thing at a time. Get control over these foods first, and then you can reassess. Okay. Now, what to do after the challenge? You're going to be a different person at the end. Okay. So wait for the process to unfold and then reassess. You don't have to, you know, you don't have to decide what you're going to do at the end now. Wait until the end because you're going to be different and see at the end if you want to reintroduce these foods, and if you do, at what quantity. Okay. For now, don't think too much about the end. Now, for anyone doing this challenge, I have opened up free calls. So during the challenge, at the end, before you start, if you have any questions, you can click the link. There's a link below this video that says book a free 15-minute consultation. You can click that. We can chat. I can answer any questions that you have, again, before, during, or after the challenge. You could also anytime go to bingeproofnutrition.com/booking and book in a time slot there. So enjoy the challenge. I hope it goes well for you. It will be very rewarding. Take it day by day. Keep that positive, open mindset, and hope to talk to you all soon.